Board of Public Utilities, Joe Fiordaliso, DOT Assistant Commissioner Andrew Tennard, to my immediate right, and to his right, Superintendent Colonel Pat Callahan of the State Police. Thank you, Pat, for hosting us this morning. So we're now in day 2 of this storm. Thankfully, yesterday stayed about true to the forecast, with rain throughout most of the state and a wintry mix across North Jersey and the higher elevations. It was about as we expected it would be. Today, we will likely see the precipitation transition to snow throughout the day and across the state. Parts of North Jersey, especially those north and west, are still in line for potentially significant snowfall. I'm not going to marry myself to a particular amount of precipitation, but I think if anything overnight, we feel like the storm is going to deliver at least what we thought it was going to deliver yesterday, if not a little bit more. The Department of Transportation continues to coordinate its efforts with those of NJ Transit, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the toll road authorities, and our regional partners to ensure everyone's safety on our roads. If you decided to stay home from work, first of all, thank you, but please stay in so the DOT, county, and local road crews can do their jobs and make for a cleaner commute tomorrow. For those who ventured to work, if you can leave early, please consider doing so. This will get more people home and more cars off the road before what is anticipated to be the worst of the weather. That is why I announced a noon closing for state offices and an early dismissal for non-essential personnel. And to everyone, when you are on your way home, please take it slow and use common sense and caution. I would say if there's a big flashing light right now, it is the evening commute. We expect a significant amount of snow middle of today, depending on where you are in the state, into the early hours of tomorrow morning. And this evening's commute is the particular concern I think that we all share. If you're out there, please stay clear of any plowing or spreading operations. Don't try to pass them. And if they're behind you, let them pass you so they can treat the roadway ahead of you. DOT towing equipment and NJDOT Safety Service patrol trucks have been pre-positioned along trouble spots on I-280 and the Jugtown Mountain section of I-78. And let's also give everyone working on a road crew, as well as our brothers and sisters in state police and local authorities, our sincere thanks for staying out there. I think, Andrew, you've got over 2,100 pieces of equipment, I'm told, correct, out around the state right now. The commercial truck restrictions on both I-78 and I-80 from the Pennsylvania border to I-287, as well as on I-287 from I-78 to the New York State border, remain in effect and will be until DOT and the state police deem it safe and appropriate to lift. We know of at least one tractor trailer that violated this ban and jackknifed southbound on 287. Pat will get into that in more detail. We are very displeased by that particular truck's ignoring of the ban, and we will take that and actions like it under consideration. Information on road conditions will be posted on the electronic signs along our highways, through the NJDOT Facebook page, on Twitter, at NJDOT_info, that's at NJDOT_info, and at 511nj.org, 511nj.org. The potential for power outages, while low at the moment, remains, and Joe will get into this in more detail, and the Board of Public Utilities remains in contact with the electric supply companies. Again, if you experience a blackout, please don't assume somebody else called it in. Please immediately report it to your electric company. Likewise, should you see a downed power line or come upon one in your car, please don't go near it. Call it in and leave it to the professionals. And if you or someone you know needs a warming center, please call 211 or visit nj211.org. Check in with your neighbors, especially those who may be vulnerable. So let's all be safe and smart so everyone can be safe and sound. Storm updates as well as preparedness information are all available online at ready.nj.gov. That's ready.nj.gov, which is an all-encompassing website. That's so you can go there. You can go to the Office of Emergency Management's Facebook page and on Twitter @ReadyNJ, @ReadyNJ. Information from a variety of official channels is being retweeted on the State of New Jersey system, Twitter system, which is @NJGov, @NJGov. So with that, I'd like to bring up my colleagues to say a few words. First up, Superintendent, our host today, Colonel Pat Callahan.
Thanks, Gov.
Pleasure.
Good morning, everybody. I'll start with that one tractor-trailer accident that occurred within the last hour out on 287 southbound in Morris County. And again, our thought process that goes into these restrictions is about allowing DOT and those snow plow operations, and as well as the rest of the motoring public, to be able to get to and from their destinations safely. So as evidence, but what happened in the last hour, we now have a jackknife tractor trailer in all southbound lanes are closed, and DOT, state troopers, and heavy-duty wrecker personnel are working to, to alleviate that and to get that tractor trailer off to the sideline, off to the shoulder. We will, as the governor said, DOT in concert with OEM as well as the surrounding states, monitor the weather, and we will lift those restrictions when we think it is safe to do so. As far as the rest of the state, there's been about 275 accidents, about 200 motorist aids. Motorist aids are usually the cars that spin out and don't hit anything. It is not deemed a motor vehicle accident. But as the Gov said, we're expecting this evening's commute to be substantially worse than what we've seen so far today. We do have a few of our northern counties that have activated their emergency operations centers. The State Emergency Operations Center will be open through the duration of the storm. We hosted a phone call with all 21 county OEM coordinators this morning at 9:30, and they're all functioning well, but no resource requests have come in yet, but we stand ready and postured should they need anything from the state. I think that's all I'll have at this juncture, other than reminding everybody, when you see anybody, whether it's a ESP, the Emergency Services Patrol from DOT, a trooper, a local police officer, a tow truck driver, to slow down, and if it's safe to do so, move over, because it's our goal to make sure that everybody goes home at the end of their shift. Governor?
Well said. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that very much. Again, representing the Department of Transportation Assistant Commissioner Andrew Tenard. So, Andrew, come on down there.
Good morning. On behalf of Commissioner Scacchetti, it's my pleasure to give a quick update this morning. The New Jersey Department of Transportation and our partner agencies, the New Jersey Turnpike Authority, SJTA, Port Authority, New Jersey Transit, have all been activated and working on the storm for several days. Today is going to be the most challenging day, but we're ready for it. As the governor said, we have over 2,100 pieces of equipment staged and ready to go, and all the personnel are well rested and ready to deal with today. Just to get a little bit more precise on some of the other things that were mentioned, there are commercial travel restrictions in place on Interstate 80 from the Pennsylvania border all the way to the interchange of 287, Interstate 78 from the Pennsylvania border to the interchange of 287, and then 287-78 interchange north up to the New York border. Both directions, commercial travel restrictions are in place. As Colonel Callahan said, we've already had one violation that has clobbered the southbound side of 287. So we have resources in place to hopefully clear that pretty quickly, and we can stay up with the plowing and spreading. But it's a serious matter, and we do ask everyone to honor those travel restrictions. We have 38 dedicated towing assets in place, both heavy wrecker and light-duty travel or towing assets in place to help clear the travel lanes in those restricted areas if need be. We've also implemented our incline packages on Interstate 78 and I-280, as the governor said. Basically what that is enhanced resources around a plow team, both state police, our safety service patrol, and towing assets to ensure that those plowing assets can continue to move especially in those incline areas where vehicles have a difficult time going up and down. So we have that in place. This evening's commute's going to be difficult, and as has been said, we do ask if you don't have to travel, please don't. I understand today is a pretty good Cyber Monday. It's a great time to stay at home and hang out on the computer and get all those deals. So we dialed up the weather to facilitate that a little bit. So please try to stay off the road. If you do have to be somewhere, try to get off the road as quickly as possible. And also consider if you are leaving towards the end of the storm or towards the tail end, if you could stay put for a little while until the storm abates, that would be good too. The message here is please try to stay off the road. Our motto is clear the roads so we can clear the roads, and that's what we're trying to get across. It's been a pretty light commute this morning, so it seems like some people are heeding that, which we appreciate greatly, and we hope we can repeat that this afternoon and this evening, and then have everything cleared tonight and get back to Tuesday as normal. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrew. Well said.
Thanks.
Andrew mentioned that we have been blessed with a little bit of a lighter commute, so folks are paying attention, so thank you for that. I think we had about 150-ish schools closed in the state. Most of them are up north, and there's a whole bunch of others that have early dismissals in place. And so far, generally so good on NJ Transit, am I right? Both bus and rail? So far so good, and obviously go to njtransit.com if you're going to be taking a bus or a train later today. Outages are low, but with the amount of accumulation we're expecting, particularly up north and northwest, our gut tells us that may change meaningfully. Please help me welcome the President of the Board of Public Utilities, Joe Fiordaliso.
Thank you, Governor.
Joe?
Good morning. As the Governor indicated, the outages right now are low. We're at about 2,085 statewide outages. Put that in a little bit of perspective, we have over 4 million customers who receive power. So 2,085 is manageable. But as I said yesterday, if there's one person, one customer out, it's one too many. So we're working feverishly. The utilities are. We're in constant contact with them. They actually kid me, the heads of the utilities, and during a storm they feel like we're going steady or something, and and that's the way it should be. We want to make sure that everybody has power, and that's our primary goal. If this turns out to be a wet snow and it sits on the wires, the potential is there for wires to go down. If you see a downed wire, please stay away from it. They are nothing to fool around with. You're putting your life in jeopardy by going near it. Certainly don't touch it. If you do have an outage, call your utility. Make sure they are aware of that outage, and make sure they're aware of that down wire if it's in front of your home, because they're extremely dangerous. They can burn right through the asphalt of your street. So you don't want to touch it. We will monitor it. As the Governor indicated, outages will increase probably during the course of the day as the snow intensifies. But I want to assure everyone, we're on top of it, and we will restore, the companies will restore as quickly as possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Well done. Joe alluded to this. Even though the outages are relatively low, if it's your house that's out, you're upset, and we don't blame you. So our objective, just as it is on NJ Transit, is to bat 1,000. So thank you, Joe, for that. Last but not least, the Director of Homeland Security, please help me welcome Jared Maples.
Thanks, Gov. Again, I'll be brief on this. We have been in constant contact with the critical infrastructure in the private sector throughout the state. All operations are running normal right now, but we'll continue to push out messaging such as the fact the state is having an early release at noon, and all the other relevant information regarding commercial traffic, et cetera, that the state police and OEM are pushing out. Also, this is a perfect opportunity for Cyber Monday, as Andrew pointed out. So we highly encourage that. We'll do everything we can to secure the cyberspaces as well. On our website, we have all the information available regarding real-time threats. We have scams throughout the day, throughout every day, but please do take heed to those intelligence streams because they can help keep you safe online while you're cozy with a hot chocolate and not driving on the roads today. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it, Governor.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Jared actually was kind enough to brine the cyberspace beginning yesterday so that it's ready for you. A couple of points of personal privilege. A friend of mine and a giant in Newark's history, Calvin West, passed early this morning. God rest his soul. He was a giant in Newark's history over the past 60 or so years and in our states. And on his last day of work here with us today is Alan Smith, who's been at the Office of Emergency Management. How long have you been there, Alan?
15.5 years.
15.5 years. And if you're in the OEM shop and your last day is a snowstorm, that's like hitting a home run on your last at bat. So, Alan, thank you for your service to your state and to our state and to your wife as well. We'll take a couple of questions. Please.
Governor, the jackknife tractor trailer, can you talk about the injuries, if there were any, and have there been any fatalities that you know of yet?
There are no fatalities. I do not know anything about the injuries on the jackknife.
I don't believe there's any injuries with the jackknife, and nor, knock on wood, have there been any fatalities throughout this storm.
Again, we're not happy with any truck, multi-axle vehicle that violates the commercial vehicle restrictions. And so that's a topic that we're going to be talking about as an after-action matter. Please.
And for both you and the Colonel.
Please.
The accident on 287, exactly why you issue these kinds of bans on trucks.
Exactly.
And what kind of penalty, if any, could the driver receive?
So it's exactly why we do it. You are completely right. And Andrew and Pat and their colleagues don't pick these stretches of road randomly. This is where we know historically there have been issues, and it's done in cooperation, coordination with our neighbors, including in this case, most importantly, Pennsylvania and New York. So it's quite frustrating and maddening. Apparently, the penalties aren't sufficient. Let's leave it at that. And we've said that before, but we're going to have to review that as an after-action matter. Yep. Go ahead, Matt.
So we're talking about the evening commute being kind of the worst period.
Yes.
Maybe a time frame on when you expect this to be the worst, and also any update on DGA travel for you?
So on the time frame, it's sort of beginning right around now, so middle of the day into the early hours of tomorrow, so 3 or 4 in the morning. And the evening commute isn't the unique period of time, but it's right in the middle of that window. And precipitation accumulation ranges are going to depend on where you are. But if you're in the north, bless you, in the north or northwest, we could see up to double-digit inches. So, and my answer on the DGA travel is the same as it was yesterday. I'm here not just in words, but in action for New Jersey. When or whether, in fact, I go to the event is to be determined. But at the moment, I'm remaining and will continue to do so at the bridge of the ship. Please.
Do you anticipate having to adjust any of the NJ Transit or public transportation services for the evening commute, or will schedule staying?
I'll ask Andrew to come in, but I think we're going to play a lot of this as an iterative matter to see how this unfolds over the next number of hours. Is that fair?
Yes, it is. And when we checked with New Jersey Transit this morning, their EOC is fully staffed up, and they're monitoring the commuting patterns, and they're prepared to make scheduling adjustments to support people who want to have an earlier commute. So they're ready to make adjustments.
An obvious point, as we've seen, this is we're beginning our third winter together, this team. We have, for instance, NJ Transit has modified bus schedules historically in the past if conditions were too treacherous to keep the regular schedule. So that's one modification that has been made. And again, I'd encourage folks to go on njtransit.com, and the folks there will keep that as up to date as they can. Please.
Just going back to last year's storm around this time, one of the first storms, people were stuck on the road for hours.
Yep.
When we say 2,100 pieces of equipment, could you put that in reference to last year? How many pieces of equipment were on the road? Is that an increase? Any changes in the plan compared to last year?
So that storm, putting aside that it came up as a surprise, a little bit out of left field, it was a lot more intense than folks had expected. We didn't get the job done, and that's on me, period. 2,100 pieces of equipment in my 3 winters is about as high as we've been, I think. So we have as much in place as I think we've had in any storm that I've been involved with. Again, you can never, this is Mother Nature, and we're in the middle of the ball game, right? So we had the first half yesterday, which went about as we expected and about as well as we could have hoped. We're now, we're coming out of halftime, and we have to still play the second half here. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, were we ahead of this? Did we do everything we could to get ahead of it? I think the answer is everything within our control, I believe that we have done. We began brining the roads at the end of the week. We've pre-positioned the equipment. The state police are positioned all over the state. Joe is in constant touch with the electric utilities, the suppliers. We're obviously monitoring critical infrastructure. But having said all that, it's Mother Nature, and you only can control what you can control. I think we feel we're at that point right now, but we have to still play the second half of this game. Anybody else? Again, thank you all for coming. Pat, I want to thank you for hosting. To you, Andrew, Joe, Jared, and the whole teams. And Alan, good luck in your next chapter in life. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Governor.
Pleasure. Gentlemen.